Part 1. Lisa started crying afterwards, and Amelia picked her up and brought her back inside the house. Amice followed while Sativa started clearing up the damage caused by the short skirmish. And once inside the bedroom, Lisa said, "Oh, my regalia, what am I to do now?" "What is her problem now?" asked Barbara. "I neither know nor care," said Amice. "You should have let me shoot your wife. For what I overheard, she was aware of the transformation, and she relished in the entire experience," said Amelia. "That's for the guards to deal with," said Amice. The following day, the guards took Lisa away, and after examining the testimony, Lisa was ruled innocent of the crimes of killing her husband, and she blamed her death on the demon and denied prior knowledge of what happened during the night of consummation. And Lisa's parents did believe Amelia's horror, and as a result she was sent away to another city, following the ancient rich people's tradition of out of sight, out of mind. One good thing did come out of the entire incident. Amice's headache had gone away, and his hair had acquired that nice green sheen again. A month passed after that incident, and nobody seemed inclined to talk about it or even mention it. And Amice had his green hair back, and he got to keep the dowry belonging to Lisa. And after the repairs of the house had been done, Amice had 10,000 gold coins under his mattress. It was not a large fortune, but it at least was enough for him to stop stressing about money for a while. In the others, he would have put away 95% of his salary into his mattress saving, and now he spent 55% of what he made in the shop. And the ability of spending money on his occasional whims was enough to improve his humor significantly. And one day during the sewing circle meeting, Rickett entered the shop, and he waved his arm at Amice to get his attention, and Barbara gestured to Lisa's empty seat. And Rickett sat down, and he waited for Amice to say something, and one of the ladies from the sewing circle said to Rickett, "Hey, aren't you the Lady Turia's plaything?" "It is I, Rickett, the one and only," said Rickett. "Your salvation is at hand." "Don't you have anyone else to bother?" said Amice, not bothering to look up. "So does that mean you have not forgiven me?" asked Rickett. "In order to be forgiven, you have to apologize first," said Amelia, who was in the other room eavesdropping. "Geez, I'm sorry," said Rickett. "I don't believe he means it," said one of the sewing ladies. "He certainly does sound insincere," said another maiden. "In my world, one has to do chores for the offended party till they truly feel sorry for what they did," said one of the maidens in the circle. "Your world?" exclaimed Barbara. "Don't make a big deal about it, Barbara," said Amy. "Just what we need, more otherworldly folks. And give it enough time, it will be no different than zoo animals to be gifted a fed banana," said Barbara. "But you love the zoo, Barbara," said Amy. "I do, but not when I'm the one inside the cage," said Barbara. "So it's fine to cage animals as long as you are not in prison yourself," asked Amy. "Yes, that is my privilege as a high-minded creature," said Barbara, laughing. "You don't really mean that, Barbara," said Amelia. The chit-chat continued for a bit, and Rickett got caught up in the nonsense that he forgot the very reason he had come to see Amice. And when the group was dismissed, Rickett left quite pleased with himself, and he imagined that Amice had forgiven him, even though the phrase, "I forgive you," had never escaped his lips. And Rickett returned 2 other times to the club to gossip with the ladies, and the shadow was useful in filling up a lot of gaps of information decided by the theater historian. And on his third visit, Rickett said, "Ah, yes, now I remember. Amice, you work for Rimaru now." "Yes, I work for her," said Amice. "I'm still not used to the idea of Rimaru being a girl," said Rickett. "I heard that they can change their bodies at will," said Barbara. "Really?" asked Rickett. "Yes, if Rimaru is the same as Marduk, then their bodies should work in a similar fashion," said Barbara. "And your point being," said Amice, "why does that truly matter? I mean, you're already married, Barbara, so why does it matter if Rimaru is a boy today and a girl tomorrow, and then the same as the other day and vice versa?" he inquired. "There's nothing else that is amusing. Anyway, that's why I'm curious about it," said Barbara. "Yes, but those things keep insisting that they are human," said Rickett, "and what is it to be human anyway? And I got bored of this very human conversation indeed, and I'm going to talk to the grass and my little Bartlett. Come if you truly need anything," said Amice departing. Rickett, recovering his train of thought, said, "Wait, I do truly need you for something." "What do you need of me?" asked Amice. Well, the theater club wanted to get a biography of Rimaru on the way, and it would sell better in an autobiographical form, so if you can get Rimaru to hop to it, I would really appreciate it, said Rika. I could appeal to his better nature in that regard, but the fact is that I am broke, and if you get the hint, said Amis. I thought your family had money, and your brother as well, commented Rika, looking at all of Amelia's nice things. You just about summed it up. They have money, I not so much, said Amis. And what about your savings under the mattress? Asked Barbara, looking up from her book. And she was always ever so fond of seeing her husband's brother. It is not nearly enough, said Amis. Enough, you keep building your pile, and soon you'll be sleeping like a dragon, said Barbara, laughing. When you put it that way, it makes me sound like an old miser, said Amis. It is in your blood, said Barbara, laughing. There's nothing wrong with demanding what is on of you, said Amis, and he added, in my comfortable position, allow me to not be cheap in my labor. So as things stand, you need me, Rika, but I do not need anything from you in the very least. Fair enough, but how about we negotiate the price, said Rika. Not a chance. Amis is too soft for that nonsense, said Barbara. Amis, go to the garden and bound with the bees a bit, so you don't hear anything, and I will tell you the final results after I finish the negotiation. Sure thing, said Amis, departing. That was a bit unnecessary, don't you think, said Rika. For you, perhaps, but as the head of the household, it is my duty to keep tensions in at an all-time low, and if you aggravate poor Amis again, I doubt you'll be able to leave this house alive, I fear, said Barbara ominously. Ah, yes, the last right. I thought I'd forget about his murderous tendencies, said Rika. But he has not forgotten you, Rika, said Barbara. Amis walked towards the garden, and on the way he saw a parade of people passing before the house, and since the four seemed to be screaming in agony, he went to check it out. And it had been years since the last public execution, and the new king of Aragon thought that such things ruined the aesthetics of the city. And since Aragon still had close ties with Aragon, the city often followed the similar trends as the former capital. And as for the people on parade, they were self-mortified while chanting nonsense, and Amis frowning said, oh, by the gods, the things that people do for attention. Barbara took him outside to see, and frowning she said, aren't the fish cultists a bit far from home? You would think so too, but no, they were chanting about Hensy and the purification of bad thoughts through self-mortification, said Amy. Seems a bit extreme, don't you think, said Barbara, and she added, when I have bad thoughts, I just call my husband, and by the time we are done, I usually forget what was bothering me in the first place. So I heard, said Amy. I suppose Aragon must be a bit short of brothels then, said Barbara, snickering. They are not Peluche's cup of tea, said Amis. They might have to be if watching those gross weirdos become a common sight from now on, said Barbara. And indeed have become quite commonplace, and whenever there's not a single piece of flesh on the back, the gross followers of Helsing will come out with more torturous displays. And after a month of this, his worship became just another sideshow. And one day there was a commotion in the market, and the guards were arresting one of the worshippers under Alisa's order, and one of the leader followers who was engaging in such practices was but a child. And the new laws in the place protected small idiots, and the kid was of the cultists, and from then on tensions arose between the cultists and Alisa. And I met one day asked Amelius, what do you make of those weirdos? Time, bro?
15 minutos.
Do you think they could be dangerous? Perhaps. Indoctrination is very similar to military training. And once they get conditioned enough, there's a good chance that they might even whip us out into joining their cult, said Amelius. I don't know, said Amis. Might there be a logical reason for it all? Well, if you can find logic to that, then by all means investigate if you have nothing better to do, said Amelius. When neither Amis left to see if Rimaru needed anything, and Rimaru seemed a bit thoughtful, and then she said, did you see the parade of fools today? Yes, unfortunately, said Amis. Their numbers are increasing too. Yes, they certainly do have enough for making feel ashamed of doing actions that are totally natural, said Rimaru. Must that be our life from now on, asked Amis. Not if Alisa has a say on the matter, and these bandits are ruining the aesthetic of the city, and even the Platoanians find the entire ordeal appalling, said Rimaru. What is it to be done then, asked Amis? Either Alisa deals with them, or the Greys will probe them till they stop acting stupid. Either way, this cannot continue, said Rimaru, frowning while looking at the pavement of streets facing her house, and it was red with fresh blood. And as the fairy flew to Rimaru's house, and she landed gingerly on her shoulder, and the fairy said to Rimaru, those folks at least or at least your leader is up to something, and the blood is forming a pentagram, and based on the pattern, it is a word of sorts. What are they trying to ward away? Asked Rimaru. I don't know, but a lot of folks up in the mountains have been lately getting the urge to return home, said the fairy. I see, now it all makes sense, said Rimaru. And she added, I have an idea how to deal with this problem. And Rimaru wrote a quick letter, and the fairy then flew the message all over the city. And around half an hour, a bunch of widows gathered in his garden, and based on their look, amidst guesses they were vampires. There were at least 73 vampires in Aragon, and a good number of them have recently migrated to Aragon following the scent of blood left behind by the hazing cultists. And these fires were not about leaking blood off the pavement, and it was gross, but it at least was safer than trying to harm fresh prey. So Steva was the first to speak. So when are we killing those idiots? We're not, said Rimaru. At least I would prefer if they did not die. And I'm not fond of the idea of killing a fellow because of their misguided ideas. Still, there are couples with children, and they have their own children as well, so you know what to do with them. Yes, tie a wheel to their neck and throw them into the canal, said another fellow. Yes, it is so fun and game until the little ones get hurt, said Rimaru. What are we waiting for? Asked Sativa. If they're up to something, let's spring a trap. I don't know, we should wait for help to arrive, said Rimaru. Who do you call? Asked another vampire. My sister's page mage Irving, the shield guy. We will put on a mandatory curfew the day we spring the trap, and in the meantime we search about the war, said Rimaru. And when the meeting ended, Amis asked Rimaru, who is this Irving fellow? Is he a tower mage or from the army? He's from neither, and there's a third magic school elsewhere, but it's literally on the ground, an underground movement. And the only big foes were too poor or too old to be accepted either into the army or in the Tower of Suverus, explained Rimaru. Why bother to teach all the foes any magic, really? Asked Ami. If you're lucky, you will one day be old enough to learn a new trick, and besides, unlike most of the crafts, magic is not dependent on physical strength, said Rimaru. Then why are they pushed us in the army? Asked Ami. You ask way too many questions. Go home, Amis, and do try to stay out of the way for once, said Rimaru. And the following day the flagellation were more vehement than ever, and one of the fellows even died of blood loss during his march, and on the third day everyone arrived with cannon, the male sphinx from Veragerum. And whenever his shadow was seen, the people of Aragon could not help but think of Bersame. And during that day, Irvin and Cano went through all of the houses, putting out signs warning of a curfew. And the signs had a unique wax seal, and the seal Irvin was to create a shield to protect those inside the house in case something serious happened. And the homeless folks also went to their shelter, cause Cano being there meant serious business. And by thus the hazing cultists had returned to the mage's temple and abandoned the storehouse at the foot of the wall. And Amas did not obey the curfew, much to the distress of his brother Amelius, and since he was tired of chasing his brother around the city, Amelius and I paid Sativa to keep an eye on his idiot brother. And by the time Amis Arcano was speaking with the head cultist, and the cultist said, yes, it would have been preferable if we had another Bersamin. Anything really than to be loaded by outworlders. And this is our planet, our continent, our city, our world. And since we're better back before the demon kid entered this world. Oh yes, since we're a lot better with the public executions, the genocide, and all other sordid business. But I could borrow these conversations in canon. Out of this pond, and start where you're out to, or you will die where you stand today. Time?
10 minutes.
The head priest rose his hand, and then his followers did harakiri, and the priest followed in cute as well, and with his new blood, the word was finally activated, and the blood bubbled, and then gathered to the center point in the middle of the word, and Kanu came outside to look, and everyone was waiting outside, already casting his shield, and near him was Rimaru, behind her was Amis. And when Kanu saw Amis, he said, hey, haven't you somewhere else to be, you fool? I'm fine, I'm not afraid, said Amis, giving a queer smile. And the sphere of blood eventually solidified and then cracked like an eggshell, and from inside emerged a strange amorphous creature, and it reminded Rimaru of a Hilton's eyelid, but with the black spines stringing on that flowed like ribbons, and this jellyfish-like creature floated in the air as if it was water. And then he said, in accordance with our contract, the shadow of Mindis shall send all non-native species of Saturn from whence they came. Uh-oh, said Rimaru. And the creature then started spiraling until a gate to space opened up, and from it started sucking everything that was not native to Saturnastra, which was technically everything. And everyone was not prepared to manage this vacuum effect, and it took out of his strength to isolate it just within within Aragon. As for the people, those that have violated curfew were being sucked up into the void. And Ames was sucked up as well, along with Sativa, and interesting enough, Canon was not affected by Mindus's power. And he flew at the jellyfish maiden, and with his lightning, he started engaging her in battle to get her to close again. And Sativa saw the vacuum of space appearing before him, and he changed his form into roots. More specifically, he took the form of the mighty radish. And he wrapped himself around Ames to protect him from the elements, or lack thereof, in space. And Ames and Sativa had indeed been returned to where they belonged, and the sad fact was that there was not a planet to be found there, and there was simply nothing there in space, and Ames' daughter had prevented it as he looked about the unfamiliar space, and there were stars to his left, right, and all about, and a growing cold that made him shiver. And Sativa explains, I can barely produce oxygen without you using it all up. If you don't want your brother to kill me, do try to stay calm. And back on Saturnastra, Canon had reversed the effect of Mindis by creating a powerful illusion of her, and he made the creature believe that she had already fulfilled her contract, and with her covenant completed, the bloody creature turned to ash, as well as the folks who had summoned her. And this had been the quickest solution to the problem, and after the creature left, the grey aliens flew off, and they went to fetch those who had been sucked into the vacuum, and since everyone in Aragon was tagged, and had tracking ships, the rescue only took a couple of minutes, and due to Canon's quick thinking, the entire incident lasted less than 10 minutes. And the sad part was that all of those who had left towards space, with the exception of Ames and Sativa, died of hypoxia. And since they were freshly dead, most were able to come back to the world of the living, but only a little bit worse for wear from the experience, and only 2 of us were too far gone to be saved. Time?
7 minutes.
When Ames awoke, he found himself in bed, and Sativa was sitting beside him with an angry look on his face. All he said to Ames was, next time you get bored, read a book or something. He then added to Amelius, you need to put a title leash on that stupid brother of yours, cause that is the last time I help him. Geez, no need to make such a big fuss about it, said Barbara. If you need me, I'm going to vegetate, said Sativa, going towards the garden. He changed forms, and he turned into a giant turnip plant that buried itself in the soil. The following day, Ames did not rise from his bed, and he was well enough to move, but he was just not in the mood for trying to do anything. And when his brother came to see what's up, Ames must feign illness. And he always thought of himself clever in that regard, and Amelius could always tell when his brother was faking it, but he decided not to bother him. On the 3rd day, a little box came, and when Barbara opened it, she screamed, by the gods! And then she quickly closed it, and the box had Bartlett all stuffed up, and he had apparently been turned into a figurine. The taxidermy Bartlett came with a note. We all did what we could for your bed, and next time we'll wear curfew to the letter, and if they tell you to head indoors, to take care to safeguard your beloved pet. So like the pet Bartlett, he flew up into space and then he died. So then they brought him back, the taxidermy pet. Well, this is all we could save over his dead.
That's weird.
That's how we to stay indoors. Stay indoors, you dumb person. They got sucked up into the space void. Amelius came to see what was happening and went out to humor about the fact of what had become of Bartlett. And Amelius shrugged his shoulder after reading the letter, and he said to Barbara, and how was I supposed to know that the stupid thing was out there in danger? You know what you did, or should I say didn't do, said Barbara, and she added, now take the stuffed toy and go apologize to your brother. Amelius obeyed his wife by taking the stuffed Bartlett to his brother, and he opened the door softly, hoping for Ames to be asleep. Ames, are you asleep? Asked Amelio. Yes, said Ames, and says Amelio was not leaving Ames at it. What is it? Bartlett is dead, and he came back as a soft toy. The creatures of the sky sucked it up, and he sent it back looking like this. I'm sorry, said Amelius, putting the taxidermy animal in the corner of the bedroom. Ames looked at it, and he gave a deep sigh, and Amelius said, do you need anything? Just rest, said Ames. And recognizing the tone, Amelius sprang into action, and he forced his brother to get up, and after bathing Ames, the two went to wander aimlessly to the city. And the brothers did not speak much, and Ames was prone to bouts of desperation, and Amelius always attacked the problem before it swelled up. And Amelio eventually asked his brother, did it hurt? Very. It felt like I was being ripped to shreds, even with Satia trying hard to mitigate its effects, said Ames. So if it is not that, then what are you thinking about? I can't remind you, insisted Amelio. And Amelio did know what was up, still he felt from the experience that it was better to force his brother to vent than to tell him what was his problem. The creature said that it was to return us to where we belong, and the place was nothing, just an endless void of stars and nothing but immense pain. Do you think that when we die, will it be the same sensation but for infinity? Asked Ami. I don't have the answers to all of those questions, but I think you can get some answers from Rimaru, said Amelia. Oh, that surely half-faced coxcomb, said Ami. Oh, you surprised me, said Amelia, laughing. How so? How so? Well, I don't remember hearing you curse in your entire life, said Amelia. It runs on you based on the company you keep, said Amis sheepishly. I see, said Amelia, none too pleased. It is sativa, said Amis. If your mouse know, he was under a lot of stress while being out there, and he was cursing in all of the tongues he knew. I suppose dying is quite a stressful situation, especially when you had no means of being there in the first place, said Amelia sadly. And the twins continued chatting for a bit, and eventually arrived to Rimaru, and Rimaru was not in the garden, but rather inside, and the gate was open, which was unusual, and there was a signpost that read, Support Group for Outworlder Victims. And as soon as Amis opened the door, he saw a bunch of different people, and there were about 15 folks who had been refused to go to curfew, and of the lot they had spent in space the longest amount of time possible, experiencing the dangers of the vacuum. Alright, so we'll leave it here. Bye-bye and God bless.